Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehanik ner shel Hanukkah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asa nisim lavoteinu bayamim ha'im bazman hazeh.
חנרות חללו אנחנו מדליקים, אך הניסים ואך הנפלאות והשועות ועל מלחמות שעשית לאבותינו בימים חכם בזמן הזה. בכל 8 ימי חנוכה הנרות חללו קודשם, ואין לנו רשות להשתמש בהם, אלא לראותם בלבד, כדי לחודות ולחלל לשמך הגדול על נשיך ועל נפלאותיך ועל ישועתך.
מעוז צור ישועתי לך נאה לשבח, תיקון בית תפילתי ושם תודה נזבח, לעת תכין מטבח מצר המנבח, אז אגמור בשיר מזמור חנוכת המזבח, אז אגמור בשיר מזמור חנוכת המזבח.
Hi there, I'm Scott, and this is GreatScott Knitting, Vlognukkah Night 7. Oh my gosh, where has the time gone? Happy Hanukkah, and welcome into my Vlognukkah series, where I talk about what little bit of yarn and not dyeing and knitting that I'm doing, as well as give you a little thought meditation for the Hanukkah night. So knitting wise, not much happening. I have done a few more rounds on my hat. Today was kind of a real lazy day. I stayed up really late last night finishing up a video game that I was playing. I play video games for the story, and so I get wrapped up in the story, and so I want to see, I want to finish it out. I've been playing Mass Effect. I don't know if you're any gamers out there. It's a relatively old game, but I'd never played it before, and I have had it, so I decided, what the heck, I'll play it, and have really enjoyed it. But was playing Mass Effect 2 last night and got to nearing the end, and I had to see how it ended, so I continued playing until it was finished. So it was kind of a late night, so I slept in, took naps. It was a good Shabbos. So yeah, a nice Shabbat. But tomorrow, Christmas Eve is the celebration going on today for many people out there. So Merry Christmas to those of you who are celebrating Christmas, and to the rest of us, Happy Hanukkah, Good Yule, Festivus, if that's your jam. So not much really to show from the knitting front. So that leads us right into the yarny front. I have, over the past few nights, I have been showing off a little bit of my stash. And so tonight we have worked our way into part 1 of fingering weight yarn. And so we'll start there. So I'm going to, and here's the deal. A lot of my fingering weight yarn I use for shawls. And so I try to buy not I buy a lot of single skeins, but I try to buy single skeins that fit well with other single skeins so that I can pair them up into shawls. So that's what I've tried to do for the most part. But again, when you buy online, it's a little difficult to judge some of that. So I'm going to actually turn on some additional light as I show some of this off. There. Okay, so we're going to start off with my Malabrigo, which is one of my absolute favorite dyers. And this is going to be the Malabrigo sock base. And the first one I'm going to show up is called Sandbank. Very similar to what I bought yesterday. But this is Sandbank. So a very kind of just basic buff, sandy color. Kind of a tan, sort of a gray. It's kind of tough to put that in a category, but really like it. And then I have the next one I'm going to show you is Dewberry, which is blues and purples. Of course, some of my absolute favorite colors are blues and purples. Now I'm thinking Sandbank and Dewberry will look really cool with each other in a project. So those are those two. Next up, I'm going to bring in Candom, I think Candom, which is, a highly variegated yarn. Really beautiful greens and blues and purples and a dark look. And then the one that I'm maybe, that is not the pairing that I'm thinking. I'm thinking Candom and Sand Dune together. And then Dewberry with Diana. Might be how I pair these up. But I really like, wrong one. I really like Diana. Lots of bright, warm colors. But I think the deep blues and purples will help offset some of those and really cause that Diana to pop. All right, so those are those two. And okay, so my next is the Machita. It is a single ply yarn, 100% superwash merino, and it is the Malabrigo Makita base. So this is a blue. It's a little bluer, kind of blows out a little bit on screen. And I'm pairing that with the colorway Island, which has some lovely, it's a lovely speckled yarn. And so I think these two will play nicely with each other. All right. So that's my Malabrigo stash. I have some Knit Crate sock yarn that I picked up. I'm not going to show all of it tonight, but I have 2 skeins of Knitology Sheen, which this base is 75% merino, 15% silk, 10% cashmere. So an MSC base, merino, cashmere, silk. This comes in at 400 yards, so putting it firmly in that category of fingering weight. And you can see there's blues and grays and yellows in lots of different variations. I have 2 beautiful skeins of this. So I'm not sure what these are going to become, but love these. I love the colors of them. Oh shoot, I forgot. I have another sock from Malabrigo, which is gingy, kind of a gingery look to it. Not a bright, not like an orange look, but more of an actual ginger root kind of look. There's some yellows in there, but also some tans. So I really like that. Very different from Sand Dune. Although they have some similar tonality to them. But one is definitely grayer, and this one's warm. This one's cooler, this one's warmer. Okay, we're gonna go into my Cascade Heritage Silk collection. And I have no idea how these will go together or how I'm going to pair them. So I'm going to start here. Let me kind of arrange them a little bit. All right, so so Heritage Silk from Cascade Yarns. Oh, wrong way. There we go. So Heritage Silk is at 85% superwash merino, 15% silk. This first colorway, which kind of has a gray tones to it, is, I don't have the colorway on here. It doesn't say. I have hidden it from myself. I probably have it online somewhere. Anyway, I'm just going to call it gray. It's a medium tone gray. Wow, I don't have the colorways on any of these. So here's a medium toned blue. So this one is, again, the color names are gone, but it is a very light blue. There we go. That one's kind of true. It's got a little bit of a teal tint to it. So we've got those 2 blues with the gray. Here is a variegated in some soft tones. Again, sort of the teal and the blue could go in with this. There we go. Or even all 4 of these playing off each other. That could be fun. But there's one more that could play into the mix. And this one's not speckled, although kind of. It's definitely speckly. But again, all of these could play together in some fashion. Big 5 skein project, maybe? Stephen West, are you calling me? Could work. It could work. All right, that's my heritage silk. All right, so let's talk. While we're talking silk, there's a local dyer here in Wichita, Kansas, who I know very relatively well. I'm relatively well acquainted with her. She has a dye studio called Red Door Fibers. There it is, Red Door Fibers. Hand-dyed luxury from our door to yours. And this is her prairie fingering base that I have. It is a 70% baby alpaca, 30% silk. So this is an alpaca silk base. As you can only imagine, you can see sort of the sheen to it, which that silk brings in, but it is so soft. That baby alpaca just makes it buttery. This color, this brownish color, is called Kodiak. I have another one called Avocado. It's a little, maybe if I can get it close, it'll maybe, it's showing a little brighter than it is. But there's that. And then I have one more that's called Corn Silk, which is this really soft yellow. There we go. It's really soft yellow. And so these three together, I think, will be gorgeous. And the drape that this project is going to have is going to be off the chart because this is so soft and so just buttery smooth. Comes in at 437 yards, so it's got a nice strong twist to it, making it nice. All right, another local dyer who I know. She is really, again, a very lovely person. The name of the yarn company is called Coast to Coast, and it is based here in Wichita, or in the Wichita area. This is the cashmere sock base. Yes. It is 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. So an 80-10-10 MCN base. This is called Ruth and Bob. And then I have another skein in that same base called Pearl. It's kind of a light grayish color. And I think these two go really nicely with each other. Now, one thing I love about Coast to Coast Yarns is that a lot of her colorways kind of remind me of the ocean, the seaside, because this looks very sea kind of, I don't know, it reminds me of the coast as well, especially when you pair it with this pearl color. It has that kind of sandy tone. This has sort of that sea glass kind of feel to it. Gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. MCN base. Couple of other things I have. I picked up, oh, this is a Knit Crate yarn. I forgot about these both being Knit Crate. This is a base that's 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and the color weight is called Nesting. Oh no, that's the base is called Nesting. The colorway is Tranquil, and this one's called Nuzzle. So I have Tranquil and Nuzzle, sort of this, again, sort of grayish tan with this light blue, sort of a tealish blue, but very light colored. So I'm thinking those might pair well with each other. It'll be subtle. It's not a strong contrast. It'll be a subtle contrast. A couple others that I have, again, subtle contrast. I picked these up online, probably from Amazon, because I don't even know this. It's just simply called Australian Merino, the Love Favor, and I don't even know the colorway. It's, again, that teal blue, that light teal blue. And then I have another skein of it that is this very bright green. This is 95% merino, 5% acrylic. So pretty. All right. And then finally, I picked these beauties up when I was in Chicago last year. God, it's been a year. Crazy. This is, the dyer is called Stitch Together. It's an Iowa dyer, and the yarn base is called Smooth Sock, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 463 yards, and I have a feeling I know where she gets her bases. But the first one is called Hawkins, which you can see is this highly variegated, lots of different colors across the rainbow. The next one is, so it's kind of a darker toned skein. My medium toned skein is called Maybe I'll Catch Fire, which, wow, you can really see those warm tones, those fiery tones to it, the oranges and reds, light oranges, deep oranges, and then some, it comes off as magenta and purples. Maybe it's purple pop. But I bet it under black light that glows. And then my light tone is simply called Come to Poppy, Poppy, as in poppies. There we go. Which is just this really light, peachy, orangey color. Really pretty. But there's that Stitch Together logo. Poof, there it is. And so these three are destined for some kind of a crazy project. And so that's my part 1 fingering yarn stash. Part 2 fingering yarn stash is still sitting back there. It has some of my own hand dyes, as well as some additional store-bought orders that I have. Mostly single skeins, though, that have not been paired together in some fashion. All right, so that is the yarn stash dive for the day. So let's get into the Scott Talk. Today's Scott Talk is for night 7, and night 7 we're talking about cooperation. That idea of the whole being greater than the sum of its parts. And I think that as we look at lighting more and more lights of the Hanukkah, this idea of the growing light is more than just simply the light of each individual candle being added together, but when they come together, it actually, the warmth, the light, everything about it is expanded beyond what each candle does individually. And so that brings to thought that exponential power of cooperating with one another, of coming together. That idea that there's nothing broken that we can't fix if we come together and value each other's strengths, each other's ideas, each other's experiences and talents to be able to solve the different challenges that we face as a society, as a community, as a people. That I loved that relatively recent Disney movie Encanto, where towards the end, if you haven't seen Encanto, you should watch it. It's a really lovely story. But there's a point at where the entire community has to come together to help a family. And they do say that we have no gifts, but we are many. Meaning that we have no magical powers, because the family they're helping has magical powers, but there is a challenge that they are faced that they cannot overcome with their magical powers. And so the community that they serve comes to help them. And so that idea that we are not alone, but we are many. There are many of us. We each have different gifts, talents, experiences, powers of our own that we can bring to bear. And when we value each other and what each person brings, then we can truly work miracles of many ways, of many different things. We can actually create miracles in our lives when we work together. In the Jewish faith, in the Jewish belief, there's this idea that God left creation incomplete, and that we must partner with God to complete and perfect creation. And the one idea that you can think of is that was intentional, that in the mythos, God left creation incomplete and imperfect so that we human beings could come together to finish and perfect creation. It's kind of epitomized in the Reformed Jewish concept of tikkun olam, to repair the world, to make the world more perfect than any one entity could do alone. And maybe part of that, of course, in the Jewish faith, there's this idea of the Messiah, the one who will be chosen. Messiah simply is a term that means the anointed one. That the anointed one will come and rebuild the Jewish community and restore the Jewish community to their former glory. If indeed there was ever a former glory, it seems like the Jewish faith has always been under attack and has persevered and survived in spite of it. But that idea of the Messiah, the one that will come to finish things, there are still many aspects of Jewish faith, or many sects, different levels of, or not levels, but different factions of Jewish faith that believe in an individualized Messiah is still being looked for. Of course, the Christian faith believes that the awaited Messiah, the anointed one, came in the form of Jesus of Nazareth, whose birthday we commemorate tomorrow. But in some of the more modern Jewish interpretations of the concept of the Messiah, is that the Messiah is not one individual, but that we each individually contribute to the work of that which is tikkun olam, the repairing of the world, the work that the Messiah would bring about. That each of us individually is an anointed one, that when we come together, we create the anointed power that will repair the world, finish creation, and bring it to its perfection. If we just simply have the will, see the light within ourselves, and empower ourselves and see ourselves as powerful to be able to take that on. And I think it has to be done together. This is we do not create our challenges and our problems individually. Because if we did, if it was an individual issue, we could fix it as an individual. But the challenges and problems that we face, in many ways, were created by many, by history, by society. And so the only way to fix these challenges, problems, issues that we face is to come together as a people, as humanity, to address these issues, these challenges, and these problems, to create, to finish creating a perfect world. That is maybe a work that will never be done. But there's another Jewish concept that just because we cannot finish the work, that does not detract from the fact that the work is there to be done and we need to be doing it. And so through cooperation, I think we always make strides and steps to move forward to creating a better world for each other to live in. So thank you for joining me this evening for Hanukkah Night 7. I hope you're having a blessed and wonderful holiday. For those of you celebrating the culmination of Advent with Christmas tomorrow, may you have a blessed, happy, and Merry Christmas. And to everyone else out there, I hope this season is bringing you light and love and joy and peace. And with that, may you have peace in your home and the fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Good night.